Welcome back to the Lardos podcast. Can you hear me okay, John?
You're sounding fantastic.
All right. We have today, I'm Jeremy with the the Kramer chicken light along with John and his uh yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on again.
So, John, I wanted to ask you, you've been talking about your silver recently. Tell me about your silver.
So, when I was a kid, my brother was really into coin collecting and whatnot. And it's like, coins are cool, but like, I want something shiny and expensive. So I kind of got into like collecting silver and whatnot. And those of you who are like into that kind of stuff realize recently there's a huge spike on the price of silver. It went up to like $120 an ounce. The vast majority of my silver I bought at like 25. Um, and then obviously when there's a big spike like that, it has to come down eventually. So it's on its way down, but um yeah, we're about $80 an ounce now, a little less. I think it's gonna continue to go down until about 50.
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, so like from the early 2000s to like 2020, silver was pretty consistent at like 19, $20 an ounce, 22, 23, somewhere in that range, right? And COVID happened and inflation happened, and then we got up to like 50. And then we had a couple recent events that like just let it go to the moon, spiked to 120. So my opinion is probably going to stabilize back around 50. But I'm no financial expert. This is just like if I had to guess.
So, so you don't have any like futures. All right. I thought you had future. I didn't think you had actual silver. I
So
thought you
yeah,
had like
I have
futures.
bullion. So
You boy, okay.
I
Bullion
sold a
futures.
lot of it when it was at on like spiked at 120. I sold a lot of it. I still have a couple ounces. Yeah, I keep physical silver. And I don't recommend doing that. You probably want to get like a safe deposit box or like a Roth made
Uh,
from gold or something like that. But yeah, all of my investments were physical silver.
can you put physical assets in a Roth IRA?
So yeah, there's an option to do a Roth in gold.
Huh.
So I honestly, I think the benefits of the stock market are going to be significantly more reliable and consistently going up. Um, like gold is a steady asset, so you're not going to gain as much profit is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, dude. But you're not losing money like with buying a car, buying Chick-fil-A. You're just draining, you're pissing that money away, you know?
Absolutely. You definitely want to like stack the Roth, maybe get some gold. And it's always good to diversify, and just make sure you're not wasting money on stuff you don't need.
This is some good. Do you know about John Kramer? Do you
I
know
do
about that
not.
guy? So he's like, I don't know if if you're familiar with the Mad Money thing on, it's like the Fox Business equivalent on CNN, and they do this segment called Mad Money with John Kramer. And the thing is, I don't have an exact statistic on it, but I just know that every investment that he tells you to make, like it just loses money.
Oh
Like the
no.
average of the amount of money, if you followed everything that he said, I think you would have like lost money or only gained like 1%.
Yeah. That's terrible. And what a lot of these financial gurus, I feel like they just complicate things a lot.
Yeah, dude.
Like it's pretty simple. Have an emergency fund, max out your Roth IRA, don't spend money unless you need to, dump like as much as you can into stocks, and that's about it. Like
The S&P 500 ETFs, Vanguard, Spider, you
that's
know,
right.
that's what it's about, man. But um Man, dude, the stock market's been doing crazy shit like over
Yeah,
the past like week.
it's
It,
pretty wild. There's a lot of like significant world events happening, um, causes a big swing. So you got to be careful. But it's not so bad. I'm still hung up on this red light from Kramer's Kenny's Chicken sign. Like, I'm sorry, it's a little distracting.
dude, it adds to the ambient. Man, it's like it's that touch of red, man. You
That's
know?
right.
What is that 50 Shades of Red, man?
Oh
That's the
man.
life I live. Um, you okay, you know that like you remember that one kid in math class and he'd always talk about like every math class he'd be like, why aren't we learning about game theory?
I feel like
Who
yeah, I do know who you're
who's the
talking
mayor
about.
that
Yeah.
one? It's a specific type. He said, I want to learn game theory. I was watching a video about someone he was talking about dating and game theory, which was interesting. Uh, so he
What
was
were the
talking
takeaways?
about how like uh people who date depending on social classes, like either they have a more transactional relationship or it's either a more genuine relationship. Like middle class people have a more genuine relationship rather than and it's interesting because the horseshoe theory kind of applies here a little bit as well, is that so the middle class people have the best relationships, and then the poorest people have highly transactional relationships, and the very richest people have highly transactional relationships as well.
That's interesting. I would have thought like the poor people would have had the most like emotionally connected relationships because they have nothing else to give, but I guess not.
No, because I mean, because they have nothing, so they're trying to get something
Yeah,
out of that. They're trying to date the richer guy, get more of that bank, get buy more of the Sephora stuff.
it
You
makes
know what I'm
sense.
saying? Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, it's interesting. It's interesting how that works and how have you heard of prole drift before? Do you know what prole drift is?
No,
So prole drift is it's the theory. Basically, it goes like this, that things that used to be for poorer people become like a richer person thing, and things that rich people do become used to do become like a poorer person thing. For instance, like TV. Like TV used to be a novelty back in the day, but now if it's so common everywhere that it's like if you're seen watching a lot of TV, that's kind of like a lower class thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Same thing with like people used to like lobsters were prison food and now they're high class dining.
this is true. It flips the script, you know.
How could you out okay. So let's say let me give you 24 hours. All right. Do you think that you could out eat two women over the course of an entire day?
So I'm trying to out eat two. How big are these women?
They're just average. I'd say they're pretty average.
Yeah, I could probably do
You
it.
think you could out eat two women in one day?
I think I think so. I mean, most of the time, what do they have? They have like a coffee for breakfast, like a banana maybe, and
Hmm.
then like I don't know what else they eat. That might be it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, it just depends. I think it's just like luck of the draw because some women who are like super skinny can eat like a ton, you know. Um,
What about you? Do you think you could do it?
yeah, I think I could. I think I might be. I think I might just do eat way more than I have to out of pride. Um, and then yeah.
That seems about right. Like if it's a competition, like I'm in it to win it. It doesn't really matter how much they eat. I'm gonna eat more.
Hmm. You ever see you ever see those? I don't mean to keep ping-ponging topics. I just have a list of like questions on the side
All right.
that I'm like, I'm gonna get your. So this will kind of be like a bit of that kind of vibe for the audience, for the people watching back home. Um, you ever see like those parenting videos where it's like they have an example of like what a bad parent would do, and then they're like, do better, and then they show how like the good parent could do something.
Yeah, I've seen
Uh,
this.
Imagine showing being like 10 years old and showing those videos to like your alcoholic mother or your alcoholic father or like an off the boat immigrant parent, and you're just like, what do you think of this?
I don't think that would end well. I think I think you would firsthand experience the bad parenting. They would show you a demonstration of how parenting is really done, not some tacky video.
Dude, I know if I'm like working in the coal mines all day and I come out and then my kid just shows me that, I'd just be like, no dinner. I just took away your dinner. I just took away your salt. Do you not want any more? I just took away your salt.
Yeah, man, it's those videos, I feel like they were shot in the 80s and they just never redo them ever. Like it's always the same videos.
Dude. Well, you mean for like those 90s like parenting videos or like Super
Yeah,
Nanny?
the 90s parenting videos. It's also like the like don't do drugs videos and like I don't know, just the random health videos. Like they're
Yeah.
all just so old every time you see them.
Dude, I mean like but realistically, if you and your wife are both probably working because we don't have the traditional family anymore, like, are you realistically gonna have like a colored chore chart? You know what I'm saying? Are
I think you
you,
can ditch the colors. It's too much. Like just
but are you gonna
you
have a chore chart?
I don't think so. Just do the chore. Just do it.
Yeah,
Like we're a
yeah.
family unit. We all get the work done. That's it.
What are you gonna do when your daughter is wanting to date? Would
That's
you,
a good question. I feel like you gotta set the example. You gotta like take her out on a date yourself to set the example. Show her
mm,
what the man should be doing for her. Set the example, give her some advice. And there's only so much you can do though.
that's what my girlfriend's dad did for my lady. He took him out, him, her took her out, did did the thing. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, having a daughter it's kind of it's kind of tough. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely like with the daughter can be. I think with the daughter you have some early advantages earlier on. Like girls can just come out of the womb and they know how to eat. They know how to do a lot of things. Boys come out of the womb, they don't know how to do nothing. You have to teach them everything.
It's true. Like the girls, they learn a lot faster right off the bat. I feel like they're easier to take care of in the
Yeah.
beginning. And then like as it gets later in the life cycle, they become a teenager. You
Oh, that's
become
tough.
you become more paranoid about what's happening, and it's very stressful.
Yeah, man. That's why it's like if I have like two daughters, I think I'm tapping out. I think I'm like, you know what? It's fine.
You gotta pick your battles.
Yeah. I mean, you keep rolling the dice, you know. It's like risk. Like you're gonna lose Kamchatka.
Yeah,
If
like
they've
at the
rolled
end of
two, three sixes in a row, like they're gonna do it again. You're gonna lose Kamchatka,
it's
and
true.
then
Like
then you're gonna lose your free time.
you don't want to end up with like 12 daughters and you're still trying to have a son. It's like it's too much.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, it doesn't matter. At that point, just like, maybe make one of them, maybe convince one of them to like do like the Ocasio-Cortez thing, hyphenate the last name. I feel like people who hyphenate their last names, I can just tell they're complete assholes. Like, have you ever met a nice person, a normal person with a hyphenated last name? I don't think you've ever seen that.
I have not, and honestly, I think you're right on the money there. They're like very pompous and stuck up most of the time, or like they're just mean.
Yeah, dude, I feel it because you know that the reason why they have a hyphenated last name is because the mom was like too proud to take that last name. And therefore you can see that the relationship was already, there was some issues there. And so the production of that has some issues as well. So
Yeah,
if you're dating a girl and you're like, "What's your last name?" and they're like, "My name is Joaquin um Wozniak," uh, then
that's already a big mistake.
that's a deal breaker. Like a Portuguese Polish kid, or like
Yeah,
Brazilian
and like
Polish.
the alternative to like the mother not taking the name and like hyphenating it is they got divorced, and then it's like the first parent's last name and then the replacement parent's last name. And like that's just as bad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Just take what do you got to lose? Just take your husband's last name, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe it comes with some clout too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think my last name's a solid last name. Um, yeah, man. I mean, there's just certain things like when you're dating someone, when you're like getting into a relationship with someone that is like that's a huge red flag, you know. So what could you think of anything else like that that's like just an immediate I know how this person's going to be.
I mean, anybody that drives a Subaru really, like it's a big red flag.
Mm,
Think it indicates they're trying to get out of somewhere. You know, they want that four-wheel drive so they can leave you.
yeah. I or they're lesbian. Or they're lesbian.
Exactly, exactly. And if that's the case, they don't want to be with you to begin with, you know.
Yeah, dude. Um, I think too if a girl has like a very nice car, then you're just like nothing that I'm gonna do is going to impress her, you know? Nothing that I get her. So I might as well just do nothing, and that's exactly the type of guys that they go for.
Yeah, and you got to be
So,
careful. You feel like you know, as the man, you feel an obligation to be the provider, but like if your wife is the breadwinner, you know, it's kind of embarrassing, I
mm,
guess some people might say. So you want to find somebody earning like just as much as you or maybe a little less.
yeah, dude. Dude, yeah, you got to find someone. I don't know, but at the same time, it would be cool to be like a stay-at-home dad. You
Dude,
get a
I'm
little
not knocking
spice
it. I'm not
garden,
knocking it.
get a little spice garden, man. You're like Chet from Fallout, dude. You're just there. You're having a good time. You have dinner on the table when she gets back. You get to podcast all day. Like it's not that
Yeah,
bad.
the benefits they're enticing, you know, just
And if you
doing
want
your
it,
thing.
if you want to make a prenup, I'm okay with it, you know. If I only get 30% of your shit and you're like a surgeon, I'd take that deal.
That's what I'm
I'd
saying. Like
take that deal.
a lot of people, they call out the prenup for being like, oh, you're starting off with the idea that this is going to be a failure. But
Mm.
I think it's just a smart idea, like legally to protect yourself from the financial vulnerability that marriage puts you in.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you already have a prenup when you're going into it. You already, the government has made you one. So you might as well know at least what, if you're signing a contract, what you're getting yourself into, you know? So
That's right.
before you make the most important decision of your life, which people don't talk about, how marriage is the most important decision, who you marry, and you can control it too.
I think
You
the
can say,
most
I want to marry this person. I don't want to marry this person. It's like the one thing you have control. And then once you're in it, that's it, you know?
is
Unless you're
true.
OJ Simpson and you kill your wife.
Or if you're one of those people that likes having several wives, but I don't know about that.
I gotta reset. I gotta reset. That was very funny. Um, I don't know why that got me. Dude, you, you gotta think about, man, those Mormons, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
the Mormons.
you also gotta think about too how that affects like your population, because if you take three women away from society that could be other people's wives, like that's gonna cause them to join, the military and stuff. That's gonna cause them, that's gonna make them very upset.
Yeah, I think,
So,
you got to think in terms of what do you want? You want to support the population of your nation, or do you want to
yeah.
support your personal population? Like,
Mm.
let's say, do you want like 30 kids of your own from like six different wives, or do you want, the community to have families?
Yeah, dude. Another thing that is interesting is how, okay, I have two things. One that's kind of related and one that's kind of not really related, but it's also interesting. Um, I so in Ireland, right? For instance, in like Western European culture, like in England and the Netherlands and that kind of stuff, even in like the 1800s, like when the father died, the estate would go to all of the children equal, right? But in Ireland, the Irish people for a long time, they would just give everything to the eldest kid. Like the entire farm, like everything would go to the eldest kid.
Oh, man.
So, um, that's why Ireland had kind of, for a while, it couldn't really be a nation yet because there was so much turmoil with all these unsatisfied men. And usually, like the second oldest kid would become like he would join the clergy, and the kids after that they would like join the military or cause or drink or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I would much rather it be distributed equally because, like, what if that, like, eldest son is just, like, a bad apple, you know?
Yeah. Um, Another thing too is that in England, right? So do you know about the sections of people, like which parts of England are people in America from?
A little bit. I know a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So like the reason why um like those stuck up Massachusetts Massels, New England people, they're from the eastern part of England, which is very like Puritan. That's where like Cambridge University is, you know? And so they become all about education, all about like that. And then the people who are like in Appalachia, they're all from like the borderlands in like Scotland and Ireland,
See, that
you know.
makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you get the vibe,
And
where
that's
they're from.
yeah, and that's why that's why those areas are, huge Scotch Irish, um, and like a lot of those people as well brought over their old kind of, ways of doing everything, which is why you had like the Hatfields and McCoys fucking hating each other
Yeah.
because of that history. And then you had the people in like Pennsylvania, like were from northern England. So that's like kind of like Hull, kind of Northumber. I guess that's Northumberland. I don't know. But those people, very cool people, very nice people, quite industrious, right?
Oh,
Um,
very industrious,
and then,
for
and then
sure.
the people from the South, they came from the south of England and the West Midlands. And the south of England had a huge like estate culture with like lords, like that's where it was really prevalent. So they kind of brought that over. And that's why, in the north, even though they're all from England, you don't have those big estates with like, but in the south, like it's having those big estates and being more spread out because that's what like the south of England and that's what their culture was like.
It's
So,
interesting how like the immigration translates over to the way the history of the US has adapted, you
yeah.
know.
Dude, and the people from California, like the original settlement after the Spanish in California were people from New England, settled California. So that's why you see a lot of that liberalism in California starting to take shape, is because all the colonists came from a very liberal area.
Wow. Now, I'd like to take this moment to dedicate this podcast to Frank Fritz,
Frank Fritz.
a beloved historian, a stand-up guy, passed away just recently. Um, he's a good guy, you know. Everybody knows him from his television show, The American Pickers. You know, he's always the shining light for the audience, a very friendly, generous man.
Frank Fritz was one of the he was the best man at my wedding. Frank Fritz, I pour out one for Frank Fritz. I, uh,
Did you just pour that all over your lap?
I did. I just poured it all over my lap
It's for Frank Fritz, you know, it's
for
worth.
Frank.
Do you need a break to go change your
No,
pad?
no, I'll just stay like this. I'll just um uh I completely lost my train of thought, but yeah, Frank Fritz was one of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life. He
I
was the
gotta ask.
godfather to my children.
Yeah, was he like, what kind of things did he do as the godfather of your children? That's what I was trying to ask.
He um he actually so my children were playing in the playground and they're like, "Hey, there's this four-eyed guy standing across who looks like a very normal sized guy. He's standing across the and staring at us." And Frank Fritz went over and he beat the shit out of him. And that man was named Jared Fogle.
Dang, he beat up a man just for staring at your kids?
A normal sized man.
Norm, yeah, that's
A
right.
normal sized man who lost 200 pounds only eating Subway.
I remember you telling me a story about how Frank would always come over with holiday gifts, and he bought you a Mr. Peanut life-size model made of styrofoam and confectionery sugar. And when you went to eat it, you realized there was styrofoam in it and it wasn't a cake. So you're very disappointed.
Yeah, but I still loved them for it, man. I still loved them for it. Frank Fritz.
And you got to be a stand-up guy to give those kinds of gifts.
Yeah, man. I remember Frank Fritz one time. Um, he like I was bleeding out after I got shot, and Frank Fritz literally he took a hose, put it in my arm, and put it in his arm, and he transfused me blood.
That's an incredible story. It brings me to tears just knowing how heroic he is. Um, on the topic of Frank Fritz, who do you think are like the top players on the History Channel? We're talking like the people from Pawn Stars, American Pickers, the Ancient Aliens. Like, who are your top picks? Like, if you had to pick five.
So if I had to pick five, obviously that Ancient Aliens guy with the fucking hair. He's a top brass man. Um, I mean Rick Harrison, obviously. Rick Harrison with Chumley shadowing behind him for the comedic
I think that
relief.
counts as two. I think,
Okay, okay, I'll just throw Chumley in there.
okay.
Okay. We got that guy with the hair, Chumley. I would say, ooh, how it's made, that was the Science Channel, right? That was the Science Channel.
Yeah, that's right.
There's always, okay, you know what? I've got a mystery pick. It's a guy, he always does all of like the narrations for a lot of these history channels. Um, he does like the same, like he's like the Oak Island narrator
Oh, yeah,
as
okay.
well, like that guy. I'm putting him in third.
That's a good pick.
And then I'll throw Rick Lagina in there.
Okay, dang.
Rick
You,
Lagina,
you didn't even put Frank Fritz on the list.
dude, well, he's already so great anyway. He's already the God King. He's the Lisan Al Gaib. Um,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
and then I think to top it off, I'm gonna throw I'm gonna throw one of the Gold Rush guys in there.
I like it. I think that's a solid, a solid group.
I think that is. I think okay, who do you think is winning in a fight? You think Rick Harrison or do you think Frank Fritz is winning in a boxing? You know what? MMA
MMA.
match.
Here's the thing, Rick has the intelligence, he has the game knowledge of he's been working in the pawn shop, it gets rough in there. So he's got the game knowledge. On the other hand, Frank Fritz has this all-powerful aura and like extreme wit and like he's very comedic. So I think for this one, it's just I think I'll have to go with Rick just because of his street knowledge. But that's not to say like Frank couldn't tell a funny joke and then Rick like starts laughing and gets uppercut.
He always does. He has a smoker laugh.
It's true.
Um, okay, do you think that ancient aliens, do you think in ancient aliens will they ever find anything? Will I always be like this could be true? We don't know.
Well, I think they'll find something and it'll be like a clay pottery pot from like ancient Egypt and they'll be like, this pot came from an alien. And like they won't even explain why. They'll just be like, this is it. This is the alien relic.
Dude, it, it's always like the biggest just what if like they usually have like no evidence. They're like, yeah, the pyramids are there.
And they're pretty big. You never know. I don't, maybe humans didn't do it. Those rocks are pretty big.
I think, and this has been discussed on the podcast before, but do you think they'll ever find anything on Oak Island?
We talked about this on the last episode. I think if they find something, the show ends and then they lose all their money. So if they find something, they're gonna hide it again and be like, "We didn't find it. Nobody saw it."
Yeah. I mean, they're just, it is the old person One Piece at this point, man. It keeps going. No, seemingly no end in sight. Those guys are going to be in wheelchairs going on the island. They're going to be lowered down into 10x with the crane. We're looking back at 10x for the third time.
It's gonna be like one of those things where they start a compound on Oak Island and it just becomes a cult of like their families just living on the island, digging through dirt until they try and find something.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be like a Minecraft beacon and it's going to give them like special powers or something. Like whatever treasure is down there, you're going to give them special powers. Uh Dude, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, well, you know who's more of a fraud than that guy is that ginger guy. You ever see that ginger guy, Josh Gates?
What does he do?
He's like, maybe that's on the History. I don't know if that's on the History Channel, but he's like the Expedition Unknown guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't find any. He's just as much of a fraud as these other people are.
But like, is his intention to find something, or is his intention to provide entertainment?
Same thing with the Oak Island people. That's
That's
another.
true.
Are we just providing entertainment?
Like, if you go in and tell everybody like, "Oh, this is just entertainment," I'm not like probably not gonna find anything. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, be transparent about it. But like, if you're like, "I know there's something here, we're gonna find it," like that's a little sketchy, especially like if you know there's nothing there.
Yeah. Um, we will never we will never know. We will never know where the amber room is,
We'll never
where
know
Padre Pio's other glove is.
where the Michelin Man shoes are. You know, where are they? Does he really even need shoes? He's just a pile of tires, really. But maybe we'll find his shoes one day.
Maybe.
Probably just hubcaps.
I think they gotta like I mean these poor old people, man, they're just sitting there. They're just like, man, they might find something. I don't know, man. There are people who died who do not know the end of the Oak Island mystery.
It is kind of like, the old people, they watch the news, they watch Ancient Aliens, they'll watch like
Ancient
wildlife.
Aliens is the news. What are you talking
My
about?
bad, my
That's
bad.
factual information.
You're right. You're right. And they'll watch like all these things that just have no end in sight, no matter what.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
it'll just go on for thousands of seasons, and it's so like I don't know, it's just not finite. So they can just watch it until they die.
Yeah, dude. Like I mean like Jesse Waters, man. I always think that like, new getting a new news anchor, that's like getting a new pope.
That's true.
You're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's going to be there for the next 12 to 15 years."
And it's even more scary when it's the weatherman. Is like you gotta know the weather sometimes. You just gotta. Like the news you can turn off and like not worry about it. But the weather, it's like you're stuck with them.
Yeah, dude. The weatherman, they're always liars. They are always lying. Like they said where we live, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get 2 feet of snow," and then we only got like 8 inches.
Yeah.
It's like,
And it was supposed to
don't
snow.
scare me like that.
It was supposed to snow this past weekend, and it didn't. So it's
Yeah,
like they're
and they
lying.
get nothing. They get no. They're like, they don't lose their jobs. They don't lose their jobs. They still keep their job. Like, imagine if I went to my job and I was like, I don't know. I mean, we can only make our best guess about this report. It doesn't have to be accurate. I would get fired.
Yeah, there's no consequences.
There's no consequences for these people just lying to us. So, we gotta take a stand against these weathermen.
Yeah, I think we should start a petition. You get like we should have like the three strike laws for a weatherman. Like, you mess up twice, you get one more chance. Otherwise, you're gonna get it.
Yeah. Well, imagine a country is so like the press is so not free that the weather is like, oh, it's 60 degrees out and it's like 20 degrees out.
A dictator manipulates the media so it seems like a perfect vacation spot.
They do the Greenland thing. They're like, oh, it's a green place. It's 70 degrees there every day. Actually, 70 degrees Kelvin. Oh, little did you know. What do you think about our grandchildren watching this very moment? This very podcast, our grandchildren might be watching it right now.
That's pretty wild thinking about that. I think if you're my grandchild and you're watching this podcast, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Get back to work, all right? Ain't nobody got time to be listening to some old head from 20 years ago. I live in the moment. Don't worry
20
about me.
years? You're gonna have grandchildren in 20 years? What are you, a rabbit?
Hey man, we grow fast. That's why they call us the spring bean.
Wow.
Kermit the Frog,
Frogs,
frog eggs
they
hatch.
lay like 1,000 eggs.
That's right. And they hatch fast.
Yeah. I mean, if my grandchildren are watching this, I'm gonna echo the same thing. I'm gonna say like an assistant coach. I'm gonna say, yeah, get back to work. What are you doing? Um, you know, I hope I'm gonna show an object and just make sure that this object never leaves the family possession. Okay? Make sure that this object, make sure it never leaves the family.
That might be the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, man, he's ready to
But
go.
hold up to the like, I didn't give you the rights to use my imagery. Like you can't just turn me into an action figure without my permission.
Dude, no, 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 no. It's a Funko Pop. It's collectible. It's different. You're a
He's got the
Funko Pop.
cigar too.
Yeah,
That's
he's got the
incredible.
cigar and the hat. He's Look at that. It's awesome. Yeah, make sure this never leaves the family.
You
Make
know,
sure
I
John uh,
go
make
ahead.
sure John's family doesn't. I'll edit that out. Make sure John's family uh doesn't get that.
You know what? I'm gonna echo what you were doing. You know, I have this little guy, and you guys need to make sure that you keep it safe and you keep it in the family forever and never give it to Jared.
All right.
Never.
We're taking that. We're taking that. You got to track it down, guys. Guys, listen, I know you guys have AI, probably AI boyfriends and girlfriends. Listen, fuck those clankers. Go out, get that gnome, bring it back to the family castle. Um, but I mean, like, uh, yeah. I had a thought. I had a thought, and then I the beard kind of canceled it out.
You know, that's fine. Alcohol, tends to numb the mind, relax you. You tend to forget some things. You know,
Not the frog. I will never forget the frog.
don't worry, my grandchildren are already on it, man. They're
Oh,
already on it.
here's what I was gonna say. Are you gonna tell them? Are you telling them to pull the plug? What's your decision? Are you telling them to pull the plug or don't pull the plug?
Let's see. I think if I'm older than like 88, like pull the plug.
Fair
That,
enough.
that's it.
Is that what you want them? You want them?
Yeah, yeah. This is my legal statement.
I'd say I don't know. It'd be cool. Keep me alive until I'm not having fun anymore. If I'm
That's
not
right.
having fun anymore, like, I think I could still have fun at 88, you know?
I think, you know what? I'm gonna amend my statement. If I live long enough to see like drag queen story hour be re-revived, like just pull the plug.
If I live long enough to see, um, to see Civ 20, don't pull the plug. I'm gonna
That's
play
right.
that shit.
Wait,
Dude, imagine, but like, think about it, man. The retirement home, like, there's gonna be gaming setups in the retirement home. People are gonna be playing games with each other, you know?
that's
They're gonna
true.
have like reruns of old TikToks, of old YouTube videos, and they're gonna play them on the TV, and they're just like, what are these memes? That's like, it's what we used to watch back in the day.
I feel like the future is gonna just be like, oh, you're old and feeble. Let us put this VR headset on you, and then like you're just sitting there like in another life.
There's a simulator, you're in the Matrix.
You're in the Matrix.
That I don't know if I could get behind that. I feel like I mean it's cool that you only have so many sunsets, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Like
only have
the
so much time.
the
It's like
fact that
what
life is finite is what makes it valuable.
yeah, man. If your life was infinite, you just sit all day doom scrolling, playing Civ 6, you know.
You'd be paying for a 27-year degree.
Yeah. You'd be you'd be $2 million in debt and Dave Ramsey's frozen head is gonna be like, oh. Dude, imagine they have his head and it's giving financial advice and it's just a full-time stream of his head.
Oh God.
Like like a Futurama head.
They would try and sentence Dave Ramsey to life in prison, but like since everybody lives forever, you'd get out after like a millennia and
Dude,
start his campaign for president.
yeah, man. Do you think I don't know if Dave Ramsey could make a good president. I don't
No, I
know.
don't think so.
Yeah. He he would be like, there's no national debt now. We've completely eliminated it. However, we have run out of money to pave streets.
You're going to be surviving on wheat thins and Cheerios for the next 12 months to help us pay off the national debt.
Dude, yeah, man, Dave Ramsey's I wonder what people in the future they're going to be watching him. which YouTubers, which people do you think are gonna be talked about in like 100 years?
I feel like, a lot of the celebrities are kind of sensationalized in the moment and they'll be
Mm,
easily forgotten. Like you
yeah.
have to be very significant to have some sort of long-lasting cultural impact. Somebody like Kermit the Frog or Frank Fritz, it's really going to be lasting, the test of time.
Yeah, dude. The Rock. I think everybody's gonna forget The Rock in like 20 years after he dies.
I could see that. And movies tend to have like longevity, but like when they're that bad, do people really want to remember them?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you have any closing remarks? I
I
think I mean unless you have more things to say. Coming up
I
on
was
an hour
just
here.
I was just wondering, like what's your long-term goal for the podcast? You haven't really addressed that on the podcast
Yeah.
itself, have you?
I've not. We could talk about that yeah. I think it's like I think my goal is if I can get because I'm making like an episode a week. If we could do like 50 episodes by the end of the year, that's a pretty good start, man. And then do that the next year, and then that's 100 episodes.
100
So
episodes.
I don't know. I think long term though, it would be cool if we could get a big enough following to where because we're not gonna be Joe Rogan. We're not gonna be whatever podcast was nominated was won the best podcast of the year. Um, we're not gonna be those people, but could we make $60,000 a year off the podcast, off a decent sized podcast, and live off of it, and then maybe do cool shit during the day? Maybe do some interesting stuff, maybe do some interesting traveling.
Yeah, scuba diving.
Scuba dive, yeah, do an underwater podcast.
That's right. Episode 900.
Yeah. I think that's the ultimate goal is like if it would be possible to make an income off of doing this, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
I think that's a good plan. Like, just keep pushing out content. Hopefully, you'll get like a small audience going, keep building that up, and just
yeah,
being
man.
able to survive off that would be fantastic.
What is my audience called? Are they the lards?
Yeah, I
The
think I think the Lards, not the Lardoses.
the lards, the lards are watching. Yeah. Dude, I mean it would just be man, it would be like we do have a podcast. I've been like editing it, but there have been a lot of challenges. Like the Zoom didn't record properly. So I'm having to rework stuff for this podcast, but we do have a big guest. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna release this podcast before that one or after. So you guys will see when that happens. But he might give a decent bump. So
Wow, I'm
hopefully,
excited to see what comes next for you.
yeah, man. All right, John, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, mashallah, guys. See you later.
Adios.
Adios.